So in this video, we are going to talk about the length of the heart line. So meaning, is it a long heart line or is it a short heart line? So here you have two examples of a long and a short heart line. And we are going to learn how to recognize this long or short heart line in the hand. So a long heart line has to reach Jupiter as opposed to the short heart line, which is going to only reach Saturn. So first let's look at the long heart line reaching Jupiter. Now it's very important to remember Jupiter and Saturn because they are going to explain what the long and the short heart line mean. So when you have a long heart line reaching the finger of, like the mouth and the finger of Jupiter, it is going to have more the personality of Jupiter. Now Jupiter, one of the form of Jupiter in Latin is Jovis. And Jovis gave the word jovial. And jovial means good-humored, cheerful, friendly, pleasant. And basically, all those are qualities of a long heart line. So able to give and receive and feel and express love, having a big heart, being open and being able to give unconditional love. So now let's look at the short heart line, which starts from Saturn. So we have to understand Saturn. And in this case, we're going to look at the planet Saturn. And as you can see on the picture, it's the planet that has rings around it. So Saturn, because of the rings, keeps us restricted. So Saturn stands for restriction, for discipline, structure, hard work. And those are great qualities for Saturn, which is the planet of work and determination. But they are not good for the heart line because the heart line is supposed to love. So when you have a short heart line ruled by Saturn, then you are a lot more cautious and you don't express your feelings as much. So you become more self-centered. Remember that the rings are limiting you, and you're more emotional than loving. The emotions are just coming out as opposed to the big loving that is all encompassing. So here you have a few examples of long heart line reaching and ruled by Jupiter. And as you can see, their shape are different. So love will be expressed differently. However, because they are all long, they are all going to have the same qualities of Jupiter, which is a big heart, they're friendly, they're able to give and receive unconditionally. Now, here you have a few examples of short line, which are ruled by Saturn, as I explained. And Saturn is too serious for the heart. It's too restricted. So it's a little bit as if your heart was in jail. So love is more restricted, more cautious, more self-centered. So when you have a short heart line, you don't express your feelings as much. You are more emotional than loving, and you tend to either like or dislike, and nothing in between. Now, a very common line that I see all the time is when the line actually stops right between the fingers of Saturn and Jupiter. So it goes up and it stops here. So it basically is right between Saturn and Jupiter. So it has a little bit of both. And it's still a very positive line because it is looking up. This line is torn between cautious, which is Saturn, and idealistic, which is Jupiter. So it is reserved in its expression of love. Love is more conditional. It means that we find reason to give or to take away love. But because it's still not too short and it's still reaching Jupiter, we're still capable of having strong feelings. And it is very common. Now, sometimes instead of reaching the top, like going up and being between the top of these two mounts, it reaches the boundary between those two mounts, but the line is relatively straight. It doesn't go up. So in this case, the qualities are more like a short and straight line, which is, these qualities are being covered under the shape of the line. So they are not as able to express love, and they tend to be a bit rigid. So in summary, a long heart line means that we have a big heart, that we are friendly, and we are able to give and receive love. And a short heart line is more cautious and restricted in the way it's giving love, so the feelings are not as easily expressed. We tend to be a little bit self-centered, and this way we are more emotional than loving. So I wish that you all have a long heart line. But as you know, lines can change. So if you have a short heart line, you can always work at lengthening it. And this is the difference between a long heart line and a short heart line.